The morning sky above New Denver was clear blue when the alarms began to sound. June 17, 2157 was supposed to be an ordinary day. It wasn't. Captain William Porter ran down the hallway of Earth Defense Command, his heart pounding in his chest. The emergency lights flashed red along the walls. People rushed in all directions, their faces tight with fear. "Report," Porter shouted as he burst onto the command deck. Lieutenant Susan Garrett pointed at the main screen. "Sir, we detected a massive object dropping out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of our solar system. It's huge." The screen showed a ship unlike anything humans had built. It was dark purple with glowing blue lines across its hull. The ship was at least 5 miles long, shaped like a curved blade. "Are they responding to our signals?" Porter asked, trying to keep his voice steady. "Yes, sir. They're broadcasting. On all frequencies, the message is..." Garrett swallowed hard. "They're demanding our surrender." Porter's blood ran cold. Humanity had wondered for centuries if alien life existed. Now they had their answer, and it wasn't friendly. "Get me the president," Porter ordered. Within 10 minutes, President Samantha Collins was on screen from the White House bunker. Her, normally neat brown hair was messy, and worry lines creased her forehead. "Captain Porter, what are we facing?" she asked. "They call themselves the Viridian Empire. Their ship is larger than anything we've ever built. Their technology is advanced." Porter took a deep breath. "Madam President, they're not here to make friends." The alien message played for the president. A tall being with purple skin and 4 arms appeared on screen. 2 of its arms were crossed over its chest. Its eyes were solid black, without pupils. "People of Earth," the alien said in perfect English, its voice oddly musical. "I am Admiral Zax II of the Viridian Empire. Your planet is now under Imperial protection. You will provide resources and workers to the Empire. Resistance is pointless. Surrender now, and we will be merciful." "Have they shown any hostile action?" President Collins asked. "No, Madam President, but our deep space monitors show they're scanning every inch of our planet and our orbital stations." Collins was quiet for a moment. "What are our options, Captain?" Porter hesitated. What he was about to say was top secret. "Madam President, we may have something they don't expect." The truth was, Earth had been preparing for this day. In 2089, a small alien scout ship had crashed in the Gobi Desert. The technology recovered had pushed human science forward by a century. Most people didn't know about it. The world governments had kept it secret to prevent panic. "Project Zeus?" Collins asked quietly. Porter nodded. "Yes, Madam President. It's ready." Project Zeus was a network of orbital defense platforms hidden within regular satellites. They used the reverse-engineered alien weapons from the crashed ship. "They've given us 6 hours to surrender," Porter said. "What should we do?" Collins called an emergency meeting with world leaders. The debate was heated. Some wanted to surrender, to save lives. Others refused to bow to alien demands. "The intelligence from the crashed ship warned us about this," Collins told them. "The Viridians don't come as friends. They strip planets of resources and turn people into slaves. They've done it hundreds of times. In the end, they voted to fight." President Collins addressed the world in a simple, clear message. "People of Earth, today we face our greatest challenge. An alien force demands our surrender. They threaten our freedom, our future, and our very existence. We will not bow to their demands. Humanity stands united against this threat. Stay in your homes, follow emergency instructions, and keep faith. We have prepared for this day." The message went out to every screen on Earth. In homes across the planet, people held each other close and prepared for the worst. On the Viridian ship, Admiral Zax II watched the human response with amusement. His 4 hands tapped on different control panels as he spoke to his officers. "They refuse our generous offer," he said, his mouth parts clicking. "Typical primitive response. Prepare a demonstration strike on their largest ocean. We'll show them our power without causing too many deaths. They'll surrender quickly after that." The weapons officer, Sub-Commander Vexalara, bowed her head. "Yes, Admiral. Targeting their Pacific Ocean, firing in 30 seconds. On Earth, Porter watched the Viridian ship's energy readings spike. "They're powering weapons," he shouted. "Target locked on the mid-Pacific. No ships or islands in the target zone." "They're trying to scare us," Collins said through the video link. "Captain Porter, activate Zeus." Porter pressed his palm against the scanner. "Computer authorization Porter Alpha 793. Activate Project Zeus. Defensive protocols." Around the Earth, 20 satellites quietly changed position. Their outer shells fell away, revealing sleek weapon systems. The Viridian ship fired. A bright purple beam shot toward Earth. It never reached its target. One of the Zeus platforms intercepted the beam with a shield of glowing blue energy. The alien weapon sparked against it, then faded. "Shield holding," Lieutenant Garrett called out. "No damage to Earth or our platforms." Porter nodded. "Zeus Platform 3, return fire. Target their main weapon systems, low-power warning shot. Only." In space, one of the defense platforms turned toward the alien ship. It fired a bright green beam that struck the Viridian vessel's forward section. The beam wasn't at full power, just enough to show they could fight back. On the Viridian ship, alarms blared. The bridge shook. Officers fell from their seats. "Impossible," Admiral Zax-2 hissed, steadying himself with his forearms. "How did they block our weapon? How did they damage our ship? These primitives shouldn't have this technology." "Admiral, our forward weapons array is damaged," Sub-Commander Vexillara reported, fear in her voice. "Shield generators are at 80% capacity. We're detecting more of their defense platforms activating around the planet." Zax-2's black eyes widened. "Impossible," he whispered again. Then louder, "Retreat to the system edge, now." As the Viridian ship turned away, Porter gave another order. "Zeus Platform 1, disable their main engine. Don't destroy the ship, just damage it enough to send a message." Another green beam lanced out, striking the alien ship's rear section. The huge vessel shuddered and its engine glow flickered. "Direct hit on their propulsion system," Garrett reported. "They're moving away at reduced speed." In the White House bunker, President Collins allowed herself a small smile. "Well done, Captain." "This is just the beginning, Madam President," Porter said soberly. "They'll be back with more ships." "I know. But we've shown them that humanity won't be an easy conquest." From the retreating Viridian ship, Admiral Zaxa-2 sent an urgent message to the Imperial Corps. "The humans are not what we expected. Their technology is far more advanced than our scans indicated. They have weapons and shields similar to our own. Request immediate reinforcements. This species is dangerous." The Galactic Empire had made its first critical error. They had underestimated humanity, and they would soon learn just how costly that mistake would be. The 6 months after the first alien attack were the busiest in human history. Every factory on Earth worked day and night. People slept in shifts. No one complained about the long hours. They all knew what was coming. Commander Lisa Hayes walked through the massive underground shipyard hidden beneath the Arctic ice. She stopped and looked up at the ship that would soon be hers. The EDS Defiance was beautiful in a dangerous way. Its black hull absorbed light. Its shape reminded her of a shark, sleek and deadly. "She's ready, Commander," said Chief Engineer Paul Wilson, his face grimy with work. "First human ship that can travel faster than light. We built her in 6 months. The aliens won't expect that." Hayes ran her hand along the cool metal of the hull. "How many more are ready?" 12 total, Wilson replied. 6 more are almost done. We're working as fast as we can." Hayes nodded. The Viridians would return with more ships. Earth needed a fleet that could fight back. Inside the Defiance, Lieutenant Frank Morgan showed Hayes around the bridge. Morgan was young, only 26, but he was the best tactical officer Earth had. "The weapons systems are based on the alien tech we recovered," Morgan explained, pointing to the glowing consoles. "But we improved them, made them more efficient. The aliens think in straight lines. Attack, defend, retreat. We built our systems to be flexible, creative." Hayes sat in the captain's chair. It felt right. "And the crew?" "The best from around the world. They've been training in simulators for months." A warning alarm sounded. Hayes tapped her communication badge. Hayes here. What's happening? Captain Porter's voice came through, tense but controlled. They're back, Commander. Our long-range sensors just picked up 30 Viridian warships entering the solar system. We have maybe 10 hours before they reach Earth. Hayes stood up. Time to see if all our work paid off. Prepare for launch, all ships, all crews. The next hours were a blur of activity. Around the world in hidden bases, the 12 ships of Earth's new fleet prepared for battle. They weren't as big as the Viridian ships, but they were faster, more maneuverable, and they had surprise on their side. On the lead Viridian warship, Admiral Kethlar watched Earth grow larger on the view screen. He had 30 ships, each filled with trained soldiers. The humans had surprised them once, but surely they couldn't stand against this many warships. "Admiral," said his second-in-command, "our scanners show minimal orbital defenses. It appears they used most of their resources on those platforms we encountered earlier." Kethlar's mouth parts clicked in satisfaction. "Good. They exhausted themselves on their first defense. This will be easy." Then alarms blared across the Viridian bridge. "Admiral, ships approaching. 12 vessels moving at high speed." Kethlar stared in disbelief at the scanner. "Impossible. These can't be human ships. Their technology is too primitive. They must have allies." But they were human ships. The EDS Defiance led the fleet, with Hayes standing tall on the bridge. "All ships attack pattern Omega," she ordered. "Remember your training. Hit hard, move fast, don't let them predict your movements." The Earth ships darted between the larger Viridian vessels. Their weapons were focused and precise, targeting engines, weapons systems, and command centers. The Viridians tried to form a defensive line, but the human ships were too quick, too unpredictable. On the third day of battle, Hayes made a decision that changed everything. The Defiance had taken heavy damage. Its engines were failing, its weapons almost drained. "Lieutenant Morgan, set course for the Viridian flagship," she ordered. Morgan looked shocked. "Commander, we don't have enough power for our weapons to damage their flagship." Hayes nodded grimly. "We're not going to shoot them. We're going to hit them." The Defiance accelerated toward the largest Viridian ship. Alarms screamed across the bridge. The enemy vessel tried to move away, but too late. Hayes closed her eyes. Just before impact, the explosion destroyed both ships. But Hayes had transferred to a shuttle minutes earlier, along with key crew members. The Viridians, seeing their flagship destroyed, fell into confusion. 5 more Earth ships were lost in the battle, but they took 19 Viridian warships with them. The remaining 11 Viridian ships retreated, jumping to faster-than-light speed as quickly as they could. On the Viridian capital world, a purple planet with 3 moons, High Chancellor Corvex received the disturbing reports. His 4 hands trembled as he read them. "This is impossible," he said to the Imperial Council. "No species has ever defeated a full conquest fleet, and certainly not a primitive world like Earth." Admiral Kethlar, one of the few survivors, stood before the council. His uniform was torn and one of his forearms was in a sling. "These humans fight like no species we've ever encountered," Kethlar reported. "They don't follow proper military doctrine. They sacrifice ships to create openings. They target our command vessels. They use their damaged ships as weapons." The council chamber filled with angry voices. Some called for immediate revenge. Others wanted to blockade Earth and starve the humans into submission. Chancellor Corvex silenced them with a wave of his upper arms. "We will assemble the Grand Imperial Fleet, 200 warships, our best commanders. We will crush these humans completely and make an example of them to discourage any other rebellious species in our empire." But the humans weren't waiting for the Viridians to return. Commander Hayes had been rescued from her escape shuttle. Now she stood on the bridge of a new ship, the EDS Liberty. 4 other Earth ships had survived the battle. Using data from captured Viridian computers, Earth scientists had learned how to track the aliens through faster-than-light travel. "Are you sure about this?" President Collins asked Hayes over the secure communication link. Hayes nodded. "We can't just wait for them to come back with more ships. We need to take the fight to them, hit them where they don't expect it." "It's dangerous," Collins warned. "We only have 5 ships." 5 ships they don't know are coming," Hayes replied. "We'll use hit-and-run tactics, strike quickly, then jump away before they can respond." The 5 Earth ships jumped to faster-than-light speed, following the retreat path of the Viridian fleet. They emerged near Outpost Zeta 9, a key Viridian supply station. They have minimal defenses, Morgan reported. They don't expect any enemies this deep in their territory. Hayes nodded. All ships attack formation. Let's show them that humanity isn't just going to defend. We're taking this war to them. The Earth ships destroyed the outpost completely, then jumped away before reinforcements could arrive. They struck 3 more targets in quick succession, using the same tactics. On the Viridian capital, Chancellor Quarvex received the shocking news. How are they navigating hyperspace so precisely? He demanded. Their species only achieved spaceflight a century ago. What the Viridians failed to understand was the human capacity to adapt and innovate. Humans didn't think like other species. They took ideas and reimagined them, improved them, found new uses for old technology. On Earth, factories continued to work around the clock, building more ships. Scientists and engineers refined the alien technology, making it their own. President Collins established the Human Defense Initiative, uniting Earth's resources toward a single goal: survival. We didn't start this war, Collins told the United Earth Council, but we will certainly finish it. 1 year into the war, Earth was winning battles but losing the larger fight. The 5 human ships continued their hit-and-run attacks on Viridian outposts, but supplies were running low. Back on Earth, factories struggled to build ships fast. Enough. Captain Alan Mitchell sat on the bridge of the EDS Intrepid, the newest ship in Earth's small fleet. His eyes burned from lack of sleep. They had been in Viridian space for 3 weeks, jumping from system to system, always staying 1 step ahead of the enemy. Captain, I'm picking up an unusual energy reading, said Ensign Julia Reeves, her young face lit by the glow of her console. It's not Viridian. Mitchell leaned forward in his chair. Is it a trap? I don't think so, sir, Reeves replied. The signature is weak, like a damaged ship, and it's definitely not Viridian technology. Mitchell thought for a moment. Meeting. Unknown aliens could be dangerous, but they needed allies. Set a course, but approach with caution, he ordered. All hands to battle stations. We don't need another enemy. The Intrepid dropped out of faster-than-light travel near a small moon. Hiding in the moon's shadow was a ship unlike any they had seen before. It was silver, shaped like a teardrop, and it was clearly damaged with holes burned through its hull. Life signs? Mitchell asked. Yes, sir, but they're strange, not human, not Viridian. Mitchell made a decision. Open a channel. A face appeared. On the main screen, it had pale blue skin and 6 eyes arranged in a circle. The alien looked surprised to see humans. I am Captain Alan Mitchell of the Earthship Intrepid, Mitchell said slowly and clearly. Do you need assistance? The alien spoke, and the ship's computer translated. I am Commander Shil Zara of the Nixari Resistance. My ship is badly damaged. We were ambushed by Viridian patrols. Resistance? Mitchell repeated. You fight against the Viridian Empire? All 6 of Shilzara's eyes blinked at once. For generations. But we fight from the shadows. No one directly challenges the Empire. She paused. Until you humans came. Mitchell ordered a medical team and engineers to help the damaged alien ship. Shilzara and 3 of her crew came aboard the Intrepid. The Nixari were tall and graceful. Their 6 eyes could see in different directions at once. In the ship's meeting room, Shilzara told Mitchell about the Viridian Empire. They control over 300 star systems, she explained, her voice soft but intense. They have enslaved dozens of species over thousands of years. Some, like my people, fight back secretly. Others have given up hope. Why do they do this? Mitchell asked. Why build an empire based on fear? Resources, power, it's all they understand. Shilzara leaned forward. But they fear you humans. They call you the unpredictable ones. Your tactics make no sense to them. What do you mean? In the Battle of Earth, you sacrificed ships to win. No Viridian would ever do that. They cannot understand why you would accept losses to gain victory. Mitchell shrugged. We call it calculated risk. Sometimes you have to lose something to gain something greater. Shilzara's 6 eyes widened. This is why you are dangerous to them. You think differently. Mitchell made a bold decision. He would take Shilzara to Earth. President Collins listened carefully as Shilzara explained the situation in the galaxy. The Viridian Empire was huge, but it had enemies, species who had been fighting back in small ways for centuries. But they've never united, Shilzara said. The distances are too great, communication too difficult. Until now, no one has offered a rallying point. Collins understood immediately. Earth could be that rallying point. Within weeks, Earth had opened communication channels with other resistant species. The Lithians, made of living crystal, the Oranos, a group mind of small floating creatures, and the ancient Eldari, who had amazing technology but refused to fight directly. For the first time, the scattered resistance against the Viridian Empire found a central meeting place. Earth became the heart of a new alliance of species who all wanted freedom from imperial rule. Each species brought unique abilities. The Nyxari had stealth technology that could hide ships from sensors. The Lithians created shield systems that could withstand heavy attacks. The Oronos could communicate across vast distances instantly with their mind link. On the bridge of the Earthship Unity, Captain Mitchell watched as a Nyxari engineer worked with a human technician to install a new stealth system. It's amazing how well we work together, Mitchell said to Shilzara, who stood beside him. Necessity brings unlikely friends together, she replied. And we have more in common than differences. On the Viridian capital world, news of the growing alliance caused panic among the ruling class. Chancellor Corvex faced angry questions from noble families who had grown rich from the Empire's conquests. The humans have done what we feared for centuries, said Lady Vexnera, her forearms gesturing wildly. They have united our enemies. Corvex tried to look confident, but his upper arms trembled slightly. We will crush this alliance before it grows stronger. I have doubled the size of the Grand Imperial Fleet. But what the Chancellor didn't know was that human scientists, working with their new allies, had already found weaknesses in the Viridian weapon systems. The Eldari, who had observed the Viridians for thousands of years, provided key insights into their technology. Their energy weapons use a specific frequency, explained Dr. Elena Diaz, Earth's leading weapons scientist. If we tune our shields to that exact frequency, we can reduce their effectiveness by 60%. Admiral Greg Powell, commander of Earth's growing fleet, developed a battle plan unlike anything the Viridians had seen before. He gathered ships from all the allied species, creating a force that could fight in ways the Empire couldn't predict. Remember, Powell told the gathered commanders, the Viridians rely on overwhelming force and standard tactics. Their strength is also their weakness. They cannot adapt quickly. When the Grand Imperial Fleet engaged the Alliance forces near the star Proxima Centauri, they found their energy weapons far less effective than expected. The Alliance ships, smaller but more numerous, swarmed around the larger Viridian vessels. They attacked in patterns that seemed random but were carefully coordinated. Commander Shilzara led a combined fleet of Nyxari and human ships. Using their stealth technology, they approached the Viridian flagship undetected. Target their command center, Shilzara ordered, then jump away immediately. The attack caught the Viridian admiral completely by surprise. His ship's bridge exploded, killing him and his senior officers. Without central command, the Viridian fleet fell into confusion. The Battle of Proxima Centauri marked a turning point in the war. The Alliance lost 37 ships, but destroyed over 70 Viridian vessels. For the first time in its history, the Grand Imperial Fleet retreated from a major engagement. On planets throughout the Empire, news of the defeat spread despite efforts to hide it. Subject species who had lived under Viridian rule for generations began to hope. Some even rebelled openly, inspired by stories of the human-led alliance. Back on Earth, Captain Mitchell watched the celebration in the streets of New Denver. People danced and sang, waving both Earth flags and the new Alliance banner, a circle of different colored stars on a black background. We still have a long way to go, Mitchell said to Shilzara, who stood beside him watching the humans celebrate. Yes, she agreed. But for the first time, we have real hope. The Empire has never faced a united opposition before. Mitchell looked up at the night sky, where new ships were being built in orbit. They thought they were starting a simple conquest. Instead, they started a revolution. 3 years after the Viridians first appeared in Earth's sky, the war had changed completely. What began as an invasion of Earth had become a revolution that spread across hundreds of worlds. Admiral Ryan Bennett stood on the bridge of the EDS, Valiant, the most battle-tested ship in the human fleet. Its hull was marked with scars from dozens of fights. Bennett had been there for most of them. He had started the war as a junior officer and now commanded the largest combined fleet in the Alliance. "Status report," Bennett called out, his voice steady despite the tension. Lieutenant Maria Chen looked up from her console. "All ships report ready, Admiral. 523 vessels from 24 different species. The largest fleet ever assembled." Bennett nodded. On the main screen, he could see the Viridian homeworld. It was beautiful, a purple and blue planet with 3 moons. Around it floated the remains of the once mighty Imperial fleet, just 150 ships now. "Open a channel to all Alliance ships," Bennett ordered. When the channel was open, he spoke clearly and calmly. "This is Admiral Bennett. Today we end this war. Remember why we fight, not for revenge, but for freedom. Every species deserves the right to choose its own path. That's what makes this alliance different from the Empire. Let's show them that difference today." On the Viridian homeworld, panic had taken hold. For the first time in 3,000 years, enemy ships were in orbit around the Imperial capital. Chancellor Corvex had been removed from power after a series of defeats. War Master Kel Thraz had taken control, declaring martial law across the Empire. Kel Thraz stood before the Imperial Council, his forearms clasped behind his back. His face was grim. "The humans and their allies advance on all fronts," he reported. "They have liberated 17 systems in the past month alone. Now they are here, at our very doorstep." Elder Counselor Van Tour, his purple skin faded to lavender with age, spoke up. "Can we negotiate with them?" The room fell silent, even suggesting negotiation would have been unthinkable before. "The time for negotiation has passed," Kelthraz replied grimly. "Our intelligence suggests they will accept nothing less than the complete destruction of our empire." But Kelthraz was wrong. On the Alliance flagship Freedom, Admiral Powell was meeting with representatives from 23 species, discussing what would happen after the war. "The Viridians understand only strength," said Shilzara, her 6 eyes blinking in sequence. "They must be defeated completely, or they will rebuild and return." "I agree they must be defeated," Powell responded. "But we aren't like them. We don't seek to replace one empire with another. Each world we free must choose its own path forward." This idea, that each species should decide its own future, was the core belief of the Alliance. It was something completely new in this part of the galaxy, where strong species had always ruled the weak. The Viridians could not understand this thinking. In their culture, victory meant taking control. The idea of winning a war only to give planets their freedom made no sense to them. The final battle began at dawn, local time on the Viridian capital. The remaining Imperial ships formed a defensive line around their homeworld. They fought with desperate courage, knowing this was their last stand. Admiral Bennett led the first assault wave in the Valiant. His ship had survived more battles than any other human vessel. "All ships maintain formation," Bennett ordered as they approached the Viridian line. "Remember the plan." The plan, created by human strategists working with alien allies, was complex and clever. The Alliance ships pretended to retreat at key moments, tricking the Viridian commanders into breaking their defensive formation to chase them. Lieutenant Nicole Bailey led a small Special Forces team, a mix of humans and Nixari, in a stealth shuttle. While the space battle raged, they slipped through the chaos and landed at the Imperial Palace. "Stay close and move fast," Bailey whispered as they exited the shuttle. Her team wore armor that blocked Viridian sensors. "We have 1 hour to complete the mission." Their mission was critical. Intelligence had learned that War Master Kelthraz had installed a self-destruct system in the palace reactor. If the battle was lost, he planned to destroy the entire capital city out of spite. Bailey's team moved through the palace like shadows. The Nixari used their natural stealth abilities to avoid guards. When they reached the engineering section, they found 2 Viridian technicians monitoring the reactor. "Don't move," Bailey said, her weapon aimed steadily. "We're not here to hurt you." The technicians raised all 4 arms in surrender. They had heard stories about humans and didn't want to fight. Bailey examined the reactor controls. She had studied Viridian technology for months preparing for this mission. "It's set to trigger on his command," she told her team. "I need 10 minutes to disable it." In space, the battle had turned against the Viridians. Their ships fought bravely, but they were outnumbered and outmaneuvered. The Alliance forces surrounded the Imperial Palace. Inside the palace's central chamber, War Master Kelthraz watched the battle on large screens. His forces were losing. He turned to his communication officer. "Activate the self-destruct sequence," he ordered. "If we fall, our capital falls with us." The officer pressed the activation button. Nothing happened. "System failure," the officer reported, confused. "The reactor isn't responding." In the engineering section, Bailey smiled as she finished disabling the last failsafe. "Not today," she said. "The people of this world deserve better than to die for your pride." The battle lasted 12 hours total. When it ended, all Viridian ships were destroyed or had surrendered. Alliance forces surrounded the Imperial Palace. War Master Kelthraz was captured alive. The surrender was broadcast across the Empire. On some worlds, people celebrated in the streets. On others, they waited in fear, expecting new masters to replace the old ones. What they received instead shocked them. President Collins, speaking from Earth via hologram to all former Imperial worlds, announced the formation of the Galactic Concord, an alliance where each species and world would have equal representation. "We did not fight this war to conquer or rule," she stated clearly. "We fought for the right of all beings to decide their own future. The age of empires is over. The age of cooperation begins today." The Viridians, stripped of their military power but allowed to keep their homeworld, couldn't understand this mercy. In their culture, the defeated expected to be destroyed or enslaved. One Viridian historian, Jax Ismail, interviewed Admiral Bennett after the war. "Why did you spare us?" he asked. "After all we did, all we tried to do to your world?" Bennett thought carefully before answering. "Because the goal was never destruction," he said. "It was to stop destruction. We fought because we had to, not because we wanted to. And now that the fighting is done, we all have to find a way to live together." The phrase, "we fought because we had to," became famous throughout the former empire. Most species had fought the Viridians out of hatred or revenge. Humans had fought for survival, then for freedom, not just their own, but for all. Years later, when the Galactic Concord faced a new threat from beyond known space, many species looked to humans for leadership. Humans had proven themselves not just as warriors, but as peacemakers. And when new civilizations achieved spaceflight and made contact with the Concord, the Viridians were often the first to offer a single piece of advice about humans. "If they ever have cause to fight you, run. But if you're wise enough to befriend them instead, you'll never find a more loyal ally in all the stars."